Okay, good day. My name is Matt Hines. I'm Director of Product Marketing at Logz.io. We really appreciate you joining us from wherever you are in the world today for this webinar, Accelerating Cloud Monitoring via Logz.io for Azure. We're really excited to talk some more with you about this exciting integration with Azure. And again, this program will be walking through some of the program highlights along with a demo and some roadmap. We'll encourage you to answer, or rather offer questions at any point during the program today. We will also be recording this if you want to follow up after the fact or share it with your friends and colleagues. We're really lucky today to have three great speakers with us. We're joined by Asaf Yigal, who's co-founder and vice president of product here at Logz.io. Asaf, thanks for joining us.
Hi, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
We're also joined by Arya Fischler, Director of Product Management at Logz.io. Hey, Arya, how are you?
Hi, Matt. Hi, all. Glad to be here. Looking forward.
And of course, we're also thrilled to be joined by our partners at Microsoft, Pavan Lakela, who's Senior Program Director at Microsoft. How are you, Pavan?
Hey, Matt. I'm good. Thank you. How are you? Excited to be here, actually. Thanks for inviting me to this webinar, actually. Excited to be part of the webinar again. Thank you.
Great to have you all with us. So just a quick look at what we'll be covering in today's webinar. We'll do an overview of Logz.io for Azure, again, taking a detailed view of how it works and some of the technical and business benefits. We'll then jump into a specific use case around launching observability for Java applications on Azure Kubernetes Service, AKS. And following that up with a targeted demo around that very topic. We will, after the demo, have some roadmap commentary, a little bit more about what's going to be coming online in the next, in particular, coming year. And of course, again, Q&A throughout the program today. If you have questions, we'd love to hear from you. So please do submit them into the GoToWebinar dashboard, and we will be, again, happy to touch on those most likely at the end of the program. With that, I'd like to hand off to Asaf, who's going to tell us a bit more about Logz.io for Azure. Asaf, take it away.
Thank you very much, Matt. So we are happy to kind of like be included in the Azure native integration and be selected as one of the company. We actually launched it in August 2021, which was not that long ago, and we were really happy with the program. What this program means is that any Azure customer can consume Logz.io as if it was consuming an Azure resource. So just plug in the resource, and Arya is going to walk through the demo and show you how simple it is. The simplicity is also translated into the integrations. So automatically you can consume all the Azure services logs and all the logs coming from your own machine or Kubernetes environment and be able to ingest them into Logz.io. And also the other benefit that we see in this program is the fact that the payment or how you're paying for this is a consumption only. So it's basically a pay-as-you-go. You don't need to sign any contracts for long terms. What you send is how you're being charged for it, and it's really native. And really works well with all the Azure integrations. So I don't know, Pavan, if you want to add some more light in it from the Azure perspective.
Yeah, so I think Azure native integrations is a unique offering that we have in Azure, where we kind of offer solutions like Logz.io, which are very popular, right? We try to provide Azure native experience. And just one thing specific to Logz.io, this is the first partner that we worked with, and I'm very excited to see this go live and so many customers actually using it, and then they're able to get the benefit of it, right? I'm very excited about it. Yeah.
Arya, I think you were going to get into some of the details here.
Yeah, so hi, everybody. So basically, you heard that what we provide through this integration is the ability to create and integrate into Logz.io directly from your Azure portal. So the account, and we'll show it later on in the demo, is created through the user interface of the Azure portal. But you have, as other services on the Azure portal, you can do it automatically, programmatically through CLI and ARM templates, which is also another way to provision that. On the configuration side, you'll see how easy it is and automatic to configure SSO through Active Directory, and the ability to quickly configure the logs to be sent from the Azure services to Logz.io, as well as integrate other application logs and custom logs directly. You can use the integration to send from any Azure region, wherever your infrastructure is, directly to Logz.io, which is also hosted on one of two Azure regions. The integration provides an easy way to see what is the status of your resources that are monitored, to be able to see if they are sending logs, if they are not yet configured. This way to have a good observability on what's happening with your resource logs that are sent to Logz.io. And if you're using virtual machines, you have the ability to use the VM extension feature on Azure, which is an agent installation directly, again, from the Azure portal. All this coming in a one user interface that can be controlled easily. And from there, once you have everything configured and provisioned, you can dive into Logz.io and start using it to provide observability into the system that you have. Either be able to track the logs, and with more advanced usage, you can connect additional telemetry such as metrics, and also instrument your applications for distributed tracing.
Thanks, Arya. Pavan, I think you were going to tell us a bit more about customer benefits here.
Sure, Matt. Thanks, Harry, for that wonderful overview of the feature set, right? So I'll briefly cover customer benefits, right? If you're an Azure customer, what is in it stored for as part of this native integration, right? I think, as Harry covered, right, one of the primary benefits is the seamless integrated experience for Logz.io on Azure. So what it would mean is you'd be creating your Logz.io resources similar to any other Azure services from Azure Portal. What that would mean is you use a portal, or use a CLI, or use a Terraform, or use an SDK, right? All the client interfaces that you have with Azure services are available for you to kind of provision the Logz.io resources. And once you do that, it's not just about creating. Once you have actually created the resources, you can quickly, within a matter of minutes, actually, there is a cool demo that Logz.io has where you're able to ship logs within a minute, actually. So imagine all your resources, Azure resources that you have, you could actually ship logs into Logz.io within minutes. So that's like the seamless integration experience, the primary benefit for all the Azure customers. Now, the primary model for delivering the Azure native integration is through the marketplace. So there are a lot of benefits that you get through the marketplace. One being the primary being having a model wherein you can pay it based on the consumption of what we call it as pay as you go model, right? That's something as I've covered, right? That's a beautiful model wherein you don't have to pay upfront. And the second key from a marketplace perspective is it's a unified billing. So you don't have to have a separate contract. Again, if you are an existing Azure customers, you don't have to have a separate contract with Logz.io. The contract will happen through the marketplace itself. So and the billing will happen through Azure Marketplace. It will be a single bill, and it will be a line item like any of your Azure line items. And the third key benefit that Azure customers get is any spend, the spend that you have through the marketplace purchases for the Logz.io is counted against your Mac as in the Microsoft Azure Cloud commit that you do as part of your enterprise agreements or all those agreements, right? So the purchase is counted against the spend that you do against this particular offer is counted against your Mac. These are the key benefits, I think. Thanks, Matt. Over to you.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Pavan. And at this point, Arya is going to talk a bit more about a specific use case, again, around launching observability for Java applications on AKS. Arya, take it away, sir.
Okay, so let's speak about a little bit about AKS on Azure. So AKS is a way to deploy and scale the containers through a managed Kubernetes experience, which provide you all the orchestration functionality that is needed to run your different microservices, very flexible. And on top of that, you have the ability to connect Logz.io in different ways. So you can use that to monitor any aspect of your system, either if it is the control plane of the AKS, of the Kubernetes, or tap into the specific pods to get the application logs and send them to Logz.io for observability. Naturally, there are additional telemetry that can be added through the Logz.io integration, being able to see the metrics of your different application aspects, and get them in a single user interface, single application of Logz.io that can provide you a view into each incident that might happen on your system, and help you rapidly find the root causes of different problems that might occur. We will see that in a minute. And one of the great things about the Logz.io capabilities is the ability to surface meaningful insights through the huge amount of telemetry data, pinpointing to specific errors that might occur, and will shorten the way to resolution. With that, let's look at the application we will be demoing today. So you can see that we have a microservice application that is some kind of a standard e-commerce shop that sits on top of the Azure AKS. There are different microservices here. Some are written in Java, others in Go for this specific use case, and they all speak to each other, providing some kind of simulation to a system that might be complex. And you can see that on the left here, different ways to ship each of the telemetry data. You have on top the FluentD shipper, that is an open source tool to send logs from Kubernetes. We have the Prometheus sending metrics to the Logz.io Prometheus as a service backend. And lastly, we use OpenTelemetry to transfer application spans that provides distributed tracing visibility. All is done through the Logz.io observability platform that supports these three types of telemetry data. Let's move to the demo itself. Okay, do you see my screen?
There you go. Yes, thanks, Arya.
Okay, great. So this is the Azure Portal, and as we said, like everything starts from here. And what we normally want to do to being able to start the monitoring is create a Logz.io resource. Before that, let's look at our shop. You see we have some kind of simulated stock shop. That includes all sorts of items. Some of them are more interesting than the others. And you have the ability to add to the cart as a regular e-commerce shop, and buy anything you like from here. You can see that there is a bunch of services deployed here, as I showed you before on the diagram. All the services are packed into containers that are loaded into the Azure Container Repository, and from there the AKS picks them and is able to orchestrate and manage them for you. auto scale if needed. And now we want to add the monitoring capability. So we go ahead and create a Logz.io resource. Let's look for the Logz.io. We have Logz.io, which is presented through the Marketplace, cloud monitoring and observability. And it's a pretty straightforward way to launch that. You need to select your subscription, place it maybe into one of your resource group, put a name, and let's call it like demo Sockshop on Azure. Pick up the Logz.io region you want to send it to, and note that the pricing plan is pay as you go, which means you are billed by consumption of your telemetry data. And we provide you with free 5 gigabytes a day for the first 14 days. So for the first 14 days, you can send up to 5 gigabytes a day without being charged. And that completes the initial setup. Then you'll see how easy it is to configure the logs to be sent from the different Azure services. You can send the subscription activity logs just by checking a box, and all the resource logs from Azure, which you can see the list here. There's a link to the supported resource types, and this list keeps growing by the support of Azure. So there are resources added all the time to that list. And with that, you can stop here and say, hey, I want to send everything, but normally you want to keep control of what you send, and you can do it by tags. So I can select one of the tags that I use to tag my resources. I'll show you later how it looks. And you can say, yeah, send only the logs from resources that have this Sockshop logs tag set to true. And that will limit the amount of logs. Next, you can see that there is the single sign-on configuration. If you have an Azure Active Directory app ready and pre-configured, you can select it, and immediately you will have access through your Active Directory single sign-on, which is very configured, very convenient. You don't need to configure additional users. They are all provided through your Active Directory SSO. And that's it, basically, all the setup that is required. Once you hit create, the resource will be generated on the Azure side. I went ahead and prepared it in advance. It takes about a minute, so to save time, I already created that. So you can see that there is a Sockshop resource configured with a single sign-on, and from here I can directly go to Logz.io. Okay, at this point, I will have, like, as I showed you, the logs from the Azure resources sent. And the next thing will be to configure the Kubernetes logs, the application-specific logs that are sent from Kubernetes. So you can go to send your logs and then find the AKS shipping method. And you can see that anything you need is here presented in several simple steps. You just need to copy paste and run it in your Azure terminal. And once this is done, you will have all the logs that you need sent directly to the Logz.io application dashboard. So you can start checking for anything you need, either Kubernetes logs or other system resource specific from Azure. Once you configure additional telemetry, such as metrics, which is beyond the scope of this webinar, you'll have the ability to use the Grafana tool to observe different metrics. Here you can see, for example, sudden drop in our order rate, which we can immediately alert on, and we can keep investigating, use the Logz.io insights capability that immediately shows the different exceptions that happened around your system. You can open any exception, check exactly for the reason. You can see the trend, what happened, when did the exception started. You see there is a line here that drawn on the timeline, which indicates that a deployment happened. So you can correlate your exception with potential deployments that might have caused different problems. And eventually, maybe you can highlight a specific exception and find out that the problem for this, order decrease, sudden decrease, is probably a deployment with the wrong payment gateway, leading you to an understanding that you need to revert your last deployment maybe and fix the configuration around this payment gateway. That's it. Showing you a brief of Logz.io tools, capabilities, and with that, I'll give it back to you, Matt.
Thanks so much, Arya. Okay, now we'd like to talk a bit more about the roadmap for Logz.io on Azure. We have some additional capabilities that will be coming online in 2022. Asaf, what can you tell us about the roadmap?
Hey, thanks, Matt, and hopefully you've seen and can appreciate the simplicity of how you get from like zero from an application that is running and you wanna monitor, you wanna have observability on, especially if it's in the Java or the open source aspect. How easy it is to deploy something and just get observability right away. So a few things that we're adding in 2022. One of the key things is the integration with Prometheus. So Logz.io offer an observability, an open source observability that's built out of OpenSearch, out of Prometheus and Jaeger. So we're going to support Prometheus, and then later in the year also support Jaeger. So you're going to have a full observability suite based on open source, targeted for developers. A lot of other cool things are coming in 2022 for Logz.io as well. Some things like anomaly detection, like sophisticated alerting mechanism that include various options and stuff like that. But we're excited to do it, as well as adding more and more integrations into the Azure native services. These are also coming in 2022.
Fantastic.
I don't know, Pavan, if you want to add stuff like from your perspective.
Yeah, Asaf, I think it is awesome, actually, just from a roadmap perspective, right? I think we have a strong roadmap. We're trying to integrate the complete portfolio that we have in Logs, right? I think that kind of adds a lot of value to customer from the time they register to kind of go to do the full observability, right? I think that adds a lot of value to customers. I think looking forward to delivering this actually as soon as possible, I think.
Yeah. Same here.
Thanks to you both, and we've been effective here in moving through the content in a timely manner today. Again, just wanted to give you a snapshot of everything ongoing around this incredible partnership and integration. I'll encourage anybody who's here, everybody who's here, to input questions into the GoToWebinar panel if you'd like to participate in the Q&A. We do have some questions that have come in. The first of these, I'll pass this over to you, Arya, is what if I have resources from different subscriptions? Can I still send logs from these resources to Logz.io?
Yeah, sure. So this is a great question, because like organizations normally keep different subscriptions, and when you create a Logz.io resource, you do create it under a specific subscription. And one way to do that is to configure one subscription to have access to the other, and then it's possible to specifically set the diagnostic settings of the other subscription, of the resource under the other subscription, to send logs to Logz.io. So you're not limited to only one specific subscription.
Great. Here's another one. How do I see my consumption on the Logz.io integration?
This is a question I can show. I can demonstrate maybe.
Happy to do so. You have the controls.
I do?
You should, yes. Oh, I think I've handed them to Asaf. Let me hand them to you, Arya.
Okay.
There you go. You should have them now. Sorry about that.
So on Azure, there is a cost management functionality. And once you move to the cost analysis, it provides you like an existing picture on current cost. Will come up in a second. So this is like you can see my current consumption up to the 7th of December and the projected. And for every like cost aspect here, you can like filter by specific resources. So you can filter on the Logz.io resource you created and get immediately a view into your cost of the integration. And just to remind about it, the cost is directly going from your usage, which means what you send to Logz.io is what you are billed on. That's it.
Cool. I will take the controls back. As we move towards the end of the program, again, encouraging anybody who's got a question to please throw them into the portal here. We did have one more that came in, and I'll throw this over to the team, whoever wants to take it. Can I use a different custom plan to use the Azure integration?
Yeah, sure. So the default plan is the pay-as-you-go, but there are different requirements for organization, and you can get different plans. For example, an annual plan committed to a specific volume. And this can be created through a great feature of the Azure Marketplace, which is called private plan. We can create private plans for anyone by request.
Wonderful. Okay, without any additional questions coming in, we can move towards the close of the program. I'd like to call everybody's attention to the action item here. If you'd like to register or get more information, you can visit the URL that you see here on your screen. I'll leave it up for just a minute for anybody to write that down. You can also, if you come and visit us at Logz.io, you'll see the opportunity to start a free trial, and you can click through directly from there to the Azure portal to use the Logz.io on Azure integration directly through that means as well. Right, I think we covered a lot of the top points here today, but of course, always excited to talk about how quickly you can get onboarded and begin shipping data. We have customers that have done this and literally within minutes had everything up to the extent that they're able to begin visualizing the data and certainly perform an analysis. And, it's all about gaining additional insight into the Azure environment. And again, very excited to continue to move forward on this integration, and great, potential for everything that's coming in 2022, as we talked about in the roadmap slide. So with that, I will thank you for joining us today. It's been fantastic to have everybody. Certainly want to thank our speakers. Pavan, thanks so much for being here from the Microsoft side.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me here.
And Asaf and Arya, as always, thanks for your participation today. It was great to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having us, man.
Great, thanks. Looking forward to see everybody on the Azure Marketplace.
Yes, please come and visit us,
Yeah.
again, directly through the portal, or again, through, you can get that information through Logz.io's homepage as well. So thanks again for joining us today for the program. Really appreciate your time and consideration. And as Arya said, look forward to seeing you on the Azure Marketplace. Take care and thank you again.